Welcome to another Flower Power Hour with Ken and MJ.
Hi, I'm Ken Rundle.
And I'm MJ.
Hi, this is Fred Tackett from Little Feat.
This is Scott Sherrard here of Little Feat.
Hi, this is Bill Payne from Little Feat. And this is the Flower Power Hour.
And this hour, we have the distinct pleasure of talking with keyboardist extraordinaire and Little Feat co-founder Bill Payne. Welcome to the Flower Power Hour, Bill.
It's a pleasure to be with you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I heard, are you living in Montana, or did I misread that?
No, I live in Montana, about 20 miles or so from Yellowstone Park.
So we can expect to see you in that TV show sometime?
I hope not.
Yeah. We're in Eureka Springs, which is a place you've been to many times. In fact, we had Feet Fest here for many years.
That's right. Yeah, well, Fred Tackett is from Little Rock.
Yeah.
And Jim Murphy's a friend of ours. He lives in Little Rock, Arkansas as well. So.
Bill Payne, born in Texas in 1949. 20 years later, you and Lowell George, Richie Haywood, and Roy Estrada formed Little Feat in L.A., but getting ahead of ourselves, let's talk about your life before Little Feat. Where were you born in Texas?
I was born in Waco, Texas. I was there in Moody, Texas, which is where I was raised, or not raised, but lived there with my folks, and I crawled out to California, and they followed suit to find me in Ventura, California.
They found you?
They found me. I was with a pack of wolves out there.
I've come home to my mother's.
Keyboardist Bill Payne of Little Feat with us on the Flower Power Hour. Tell us about your first meeting with Lowell George and how that came about by way of Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention.
Well, I was sleeping on the beach up in Isla Vista, sleeping on people's couches, etc. And I had heard a record called Uncle Meat when I was in Northern California. I was going to have to go to the dreaded L.A., which I never wanted to go to. There was two labels that Frank Zappa had. One was called Straight, the other was Bizarre. So I called it Bizarre Records, naturally. They put me in touch with somebody else first, a guy named Jeffrey Simmons. And then Jeff said, hey, you might want to check out Lowell George. He's got a band he's starting, so that's exactly what I did. My first meeting with Lowell went something like this. When I got there, walked up to the door, which was open. There was a young lady, blonde hair, beautiful, sitting cross-legged, listening to some XOT in the living room. And she goes, oh, you must be Bill. Lowell's expecting you. He'll be back in 4 hours. I go, what does he do when he's not expecting you?
And then he asked you to play with Fraternity of Man, right, on their second album?
Yeah, he brought me into that record.
Keyboardist Bill Payne of Little Feat with us on the Flower Power Hour. I want to ask you about one more song on the first album, Truck Stop Girl, which is maybe my favorite on there. You and Lowell get co-writing credit. Walk us through how that song came to be.
Well, when I came down from Santa Maria, I had no idea who Lowell was, other than he'd played some with some others. But I came down there with a love of country music myself. So when it came to the first real song we wrote, which was Truck Stop Girl, and we wrote it on his acoustic guitar, and his mother had a spinet, a blonde spinet at Lowell's house that I played, and it came together pretty naturally. I was proud of that. The Byrds were the first band to cut the tune, I believe. By 1972, late 71, we were moving into another era of the band, and that was with Kenny Grady and Sam Clayton from Delaney and Bonnie.
Yeah.
If Kenny and Sam are still with us, Paul Blair came into the band as well to fill out and help Lowell with guitars. But the definable sound that people began to really think of as Little Feat happened, in my opinion, on the album Dixie Chicken.
Yeah. I'm thinking at that point there's a feeling in the group that you really got something special here. And, everything's kind of clicking.
Absolutely.
Hi, this is Fred Tackett from Little Feat, and you've got the Flower Power Hour.
Talking with Little Feat co-founder Bill Payne.
Easy to Slip was, well, they're all great songs that he wrote, but that one in particular really resonated sonically, and he was coming into his voice, I think, in a really good manner.
The music your parents warned you about. The Flower Power Hour.
And we're celebrating the power of the flower with the music of Little Feat this hour.
co-founder Bill Payne's on the line with us.
Yeah, from his home in Montana, where, by the way, his dental floss crop is the talk of Yellowstone.
I did not know that.
We heard tunes from the Mothers of Invention, the Fraternity of Man, and the Byrds in that set.
Along with 3 from Little Feat, Willin', Dixie Chicken, and Easy to Slip.
The Feet have a great new album out called Sam's Place, and to close out the hour, we'll turn you on to a few cuts from it.
Yeah, what an amazing history Little Feat has had, huh?
Yeah.
Continues to have, too. Let's get into a few more classic Feat tunes, Bill. You guys never confined yourselves to one particular type of music, did you?
We'd have to probably play about 10 bands to envelop the number of genres that we would attack.
Yeah.
We were introducing some New Orleans-style music, some Southern music to the mix, specifically Dixie Chicken.
Yeah.
On the LA scene, the Vatos and the Chavos, etc., all had a song called Fat Man in the Bathtub. It was not politically correct, but there was a sound that I used called Drunken Mexican Trumpets. Was the lick, and I think it was on a Mellotron or something. But that's what they called it, so there we were. It did sound like trumpets on some of the later Charlino Sanchez albums that I used to listen to 20 years ago.
All That You Dream, what an upper man, inspirational to me and lots of folks.
Paul Breer wrote the lyrics and most of the song. Paul was an extraordinary lyricist as well, and I think that's another point within Little Feat is, in general, the lyrics that people were coming up with could really move you.
Little Feat's only surviving original member, Bill Payne, with us on the Flower Power Hour. Another one you co-wrote, Oh Atlanta. Not all that complex, but boy, I bet this is still fun to play.
It is, and it is not a complex tune unless you try and play it. As a musician, and you go, well, the walk-ups, and I go, I know. But I was actually trying to write a really simple song, and for the most part it is. And it was about exactly what I said it was. It's some girl down in Atlanta, Georgia, that I thought might be nifty to see. The imagery at the top of it, watching planes take off, was from the very first tour we did. We were in Cincinnati, Ohio, but the airport was over in Kentucky. And as we were leaving that airport, I was watching people lined up along the runway, watching planes land and take off. I thought, gosh, is that all there is to do around here?
Yeah.
I wrote a poem about it, and then 3 or 4 years later, I turned it into a song.
This is the Flower Power Hour.
This portion of the show is being brought to you by The Best Things in Life, which are still free with minimum purchase at participating dealers.
Little Feat's Bill Payne with us this hour. Time Loves a Hero has to be one of your best compositions, maybe the best Little Feat song of all, but that's just my opinion. It's got that unmistakable Little Feat funky feel, and yet it also is somewhat metaphysical. Is that a Hammond organ you're playing on there?
It is. It's a cut-down B3 that was figured out by Keyboard Products in Los Angeles. And what they did was they took the tubes out, which gave the B3 a very distinctive sound. But we were jamming one evening, and Kenny Grady was playing this boom, doo doo, ba doo doo, boo doo, ba boom, which is the lead line in that song. Mm-hmm. And I started playing over the top, doo, ba doo, boom, 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 ba boom. The lyrics came from a trip I made down to Fran Tate. So Fran and I were down in the Caribbean, and when we were coming back, we stopped off in Puerto Rico at the casino there, and I then morphed that stopover and turned it into I Got an Uncle in Puerto Rico, and on and on. So it was kind of its own story, fiction and nonfiction.
Let me ask you about a cut called Long Distance Love. Lowell George gets the writing credit here, but I hear a lot of your touch on here, too.
Well, thank you. Great Lowell George song.
Yeah.
Very, very tender tune. In fact, when we put our band back together most recently, I chose that song for us to record because of its sensitivity, because of the part that Richie Hayward played. Richie could be a basher when it got down to it, but he played such an extraordinary, sensitive part on that. I wanted to see if Tony Leone could cover it, and he did, and more. It's a great tune on a lot of levels, and the background vocalist with Lowell on that, I believe, is Valerie Carter.
Congrats, my friend. You've got the Flower Power Hour, and we're hanging out with Bill Payne of Little Feat.
He and the great Lowell George were the mainstays of Little Feat way back when. Bill's, of course, kept the legacy going right up to the present.
The Feat are touring. Check out their website, littlefeat.com. Feat spelled F-E-A-T.
They gave us Fat Man in the Bathtub, All Let You Dream, and Oh Atlanta in that set.
Plus Time Loves a Hero and Long Distance Love. Not to be confused with their song called Long Distance Call.
Yeah, that one's on the way. Bonnie Raitt duets with Sam on vocals.
That's one of 4 brand new Little Feat cuts we've got for you now in place of my long, deep closer.
This is Phil Proctor of the Firesign Theater, and I'm here to tell you that this portion of the Flower Power Hour is brought to you by Bear Whiz Beer. It's in the water. That's why it's yellow.
The Flower Power Hour, now spreading peace and love worldwide on over 160 radio stations in 20 countries. And we have the pleasure of hanging with Little Feat's Bill Payne this hour. Let's talk about this new album. It is called Sam's Place, and it's Little Feat's first new album in 12 years. You're featuring vocalist Sam Clayton. Now, he's been with you guys as a percussionist since '87 when you reorganized. Fred Tackett's been with you that long, too, on guitar, mandolin, trumpet, backing vocals, and so has Kenny Gradney on bass. Rounding out the Little Feat band these days, you've got a couple of other guys. Tell us about Scott and Tony.
Scott Sherrard is a person I met on a tour when I was with the Doobie Brothers. He was the musical director for Greg Allman on that tour. And when in 2019, Paul Barrere had been ill. So we went out with Larry Campbell, Teresa Williams. On the last 2 shows, which they couldn't make, we brought in Scott Sherrard. The very day he arrived, Paul Barrere passed away.
Oh, wow.
So Scott's been with us for a brief while. Tony Leone comes to us from Chris Robinson, one of his iterations of the Black Crowes. He really is, along with Richie, one of the finest drummers I've ever worked with.
The Flower Power Hour.
I feel like I know what the blues ought to sound like in the studio, and we really hit it. And Sam is the real deal in my guesstimation.
Well, mine too, yeah. Well, let's start with the first one, Milkman, a very cool traditional blues tune. Superb vocals by Sam. And I love the lead guitar. Who's doing that?
It's Scott Sherrard. He is he's phenomenal. I mean, the thing speaks when he plays it.
Little Feat co-founder and keyboardist Bill Payne with us on the Flower Power Hour. The third cut on the new album, Long Distance Call, You Slow It Down Again, a bluesy ballad with Sam, trading vocals with Bonnie Raitt. You've worked with Bonnie before. You were a guest performer on her album Sweet Forgiveness.
I was. Fred Tackett is on that record as well, I believe.
And was it your call, or who decided to bring in Bonnie for this duet with Sam?
I mentioned it. I think everybody co-signed it immediately, of course. I thought if we're going to raise the bar on this thing, let's just go for the best.
One of these days, baby.
Keyboardist Bill Payne of Little Feat with us on the Flower Power Hour. Man, it's funny and smart, and Sam just kind of nails the lyrics. So Bill, let me ask you, why people like that?
You know, I wish, Ken, if we could only figure that out,
Yeah.
we would get rid of the bunkers we have in our backyard.
Amen.
You know, we live in such crazy times, I have to tell you. Flower Power Hour, make love, not war. I mean, you guys have got the right message.
Thanks.
I just wish more people were listening to it.
Thanks.
Not literally through your show, but to the message of let's be peaceful with each other if we can.
Yeah.
They take your love and your money. Don't be like that.
Follow the peaceful way.
Peace and love ain't dead. We just need more participants right now.
Bill Payne of Little Feat with us. Another cut on this album, Sam's Place, Little Feat's new LP, Mellow Down Easy. Who's playing harmonica for Little Feat now?
Michael Bull LeBeau is playing harmonica. He is Sam Clayton's cat. You know, he sets up Sam's gear. He's there to support Sam as a technician, and the guy can play the instrument. Sam wanted him on the record, and we said, yeah, come on in. And Bull, we call him Bull, and he performed beautifully on this album.
Mellow down easy.
It's been so cool hanging out with Bill Payne this hour. On behalf of my wife, MJ, and all of our listeners, Bill, thanks for your time and all the music you've given us. You know, you've been touching our heads and our hearts for decades now, and we want to boomerang that back at you. We wish you peace and love, Bill.
Thank you. Well, peace and love to both of you, Ken and MJ. A wonderful host, a great show. I was just over in Brussels, and I'm sure you probably have something feeding through the pipeline over there. And
yeah.
And I give out a hearty salute to the folks at ICP Studios. John over there was running. I was just in Brussels a couple of weeks ago. So thank you guys so much for having me on the show. It was a pleasure.
Peace. You've been listening to the Flower Power Hour with Ken and MJ. Join us again next time for more peace, love, and rock and roll.